Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi. A little bit of a disarray here. Let me get this to the full screen behind me. There we are. Let's get that taken care of, and maybe I can try that again. Apologize for the, there. Whew. A little bit of a disarray this morning, but had to pull it together at the last second. Welcome to the community live stream. This is January 22nd, 2020. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie. Ready. Now I'm ready. Had a few technical things to check. This place is in total disarray from house cleaning and just general day-to-day work. It's been a while. Good to see you. Glad to be here. This is an unscripted journey through the community where I not only provide you with answers that I find on the community, but the answers behind those answers, the journey of discovery, the learning, the exploration, that you could take those skills to your job and be a more effective ServiceNow administrator and developer. And you just saw a little bit of how the sausage is made on this. Good morning, Carolyn Ramsport. Good morning, Drew. Good to see you. It's my morning here, but it may be evening or afternoon for you, and I don't know. You might not even be watching this live. If you are watching this live, thank you very much. And I encourage you, go to the ServiceNow Community YouTube channel at the URL you see right there, and go to the like button if you find something helpful, mildly entertaining in this video. I encourage you to click like, subscribe, get those notifications so you know when we go live. And my phone's not even within reach. I don't know where I set it down. It was on the charger. It's not. So you'll likely get hopefully we're not going to run into any mobile questions today. Good morning, Viniac. Good morning, Scott. Good to see everybody. YouTube is the place where you want to go. We've got a playlist of all of these going back over 2 years. So you can find out what we did in the community in March 2018 if you really want to. With that, I also put this on Twitch just in case there are any YouTube issues. We can have that on Twitch as well for a couple of weeks. And you can watch there. Maybe your company blocks YouTube. I don't know. But you've always got that. Good morning, Nasir and Shane. And wow, we've got everybody checking in. Mike Stockman's even checking in. I got local people. I got people across the world. This is awesome. Thank you. Happy January 22nd. Let's not make it June yet. It's going to come up on us fast enough. If you've got something more than a good morning, a shout out, a hi, how are you, how's the weather, or you want to contribute to the conversation, obviously that's a good place to do that in the YouTube live stream. We also have the community. Yes, that's why we're here. So if you've got questions about ServiceNow, issues, things that are on your mind, you want to try something new and you're not sure which way to explore it, post that in the community. We have a number of sub-communities in there. So if it's a question about project and portfolio management, put that in the ITBM section. If it's a question about discovery and service mapping, IT operations management is a better place for that. You'll get the eyes that you want to get. It's the difference between posting to LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedBook, I just made a new site. LinkedIn and Facebook, that you get the right audience for that. So make sure you do that. One question per post is optimal. I saw one yesterday that had, oh my gosh, it looked like it was a 6-month professional services engagement that they were asking for. A lot of questions, a lot of good information, but please be succinct. Screen captures always help. I'm not going to go through all the typical community rules right now, but I want to make sure that you have some general guidelines. Search if you're new to the community, search before you ask so that we don't get the same question 800 times. How do I make the session timeout longer than 30 minutes? Now, that one's been answered 100 times, I guarantee you. Hello from Ankit. I am doing well. If it was June, then we would have missed knowledge. Well, unless it was last June, then we get a little extra time and I'd be able to catch up. James Hammond checking in from the UK. Excellent. That's the community in a nutshell. You're all aware of it. You know how YouTube works. So let's go on. After that, I invite you, of course, to take a look at the developer portal. If you haven't been there, developer.servicenow.com is where you want to go to get a free personal developer instance. And in just a few short days, I'm telling you, you'll have access to Orlando as part of the early access program. And then next Tuesday, we might have some more information for you. Stay tuned. If you've gotten the developer newsletter, you know where to go. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not allowed to socialize this certain webinar for January, except to the people that are in the developer program. So developer.servicenow.com gets you blogs, gets you APIs, gets you learning plans, also gets you some special content that other people aren't getting right away. They won't see it till March when general availability is out. So I really, really invite you to go over there, be part of that program. We also have blog entries. Andrew Barnes has been working very hard, as is our resource in India. I apologize, I can't remember his name right now, but I will look that up. They've been creating blog entries. They will start dropping tomorrow, Wednesday the 23rd. You should start seeing, is it 23rd? What day is it today? I think I said the 22nd. Now I can't remember. I don't have my watch. I didn't put on my watch this morning. I'm in such a hurry. So Wednesday we should start seeing blog entries. If not, you'll see it Thursday. I thought the whole early access thing was Friday, but it will be happening Thursday. So come back to developer.servicenow.com on Thursday, whatever date that is in your part of the world, and check it out. So we also have meetups. We have meetups. Meetups is a great time of year to be meeting up with fellow developers over at meetup.com. You can see the URL right there, meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow dev program. And we're up to 63 chapters, over 21,000 people around the world, like-minded developers getting together to discuss projects they've worked on, things they want to see, what's new in the latest release. Lots of great discussions happening there. I believe Andrew Barnes is doing a presentation in Raleigh? Charlotte? I can't remember. I think it might be the Raleigh chapter very, very soon. So check here. You can see events near me. You can see events that are coming up. You can, in fact, I think if we go over to events on the developer site, we have Charlotte on Thursday. I believe that's the one he's doing. He's from North Carolina. Then we got Minneapolis also on Thursday. Excellent. Thank you. New Delhi on Saturday. I love those Saturday meetings. Gives you a little more flexibility in time and scheduling. You could be there for 8 hours. Wouldn't that be an awesome developer meetup, Mr. Stockman? Tampa Bay coming up. This is a great time of year. Everybody's getting ramped up and ready. And what do you want to see at Knowledge and all that good stuff? A lot of stuff happening there. So meetup.com, I encourage you to go over there. Get those notifications. If there's not a chapter in your area, please reach out to us and we can help you get one started. So let us know. There is a meetup in Stockholm, Sweden in February. Steve from Sweden will be there. Awesome. Wish I could be there. I don't have a whole lot of world travels right now. We do have one coming up in Calgary on February 11th because there's a Calgary Innovation Workshop that I am part of on the 12th. So I will be in Calgary on the 11th. If you're in that neighborhood, stop by and check it out. There's also, do we have a meetup in Toronto? I haven't checked lately, but I will be in Toronto. It appears that we do have a meetup in Toronto. So we'll see if we can align one for that. It's probably going to be March 31st, I want to say, because the Innovation Workshop is scheduled for the 1st. So I'll be there as well. Jason McKee is going to Brazil. I believe he's going to Sao Paulo, and we may align something with that so he can be there as well. That will be first week of March. I can't be there. I'll be on vacation. Wish I could go to Brazil. Really, really wish badly I could go to Brazil. So that's our meetups. After meetups comes other events. If you wish to see those, go over to servicenow.com/events.html for ServiceNow user groups. This is a wider audience than just developers. You can get your ServiceNow user group information, maybe find out how somebody's implemented ITBM or Discovery or whatever. Lots of customer contributions to that, as well as ServiceNow people coming in and sharing their particular parts of interest on the platform, the application suite, whatever it is. We get a lot of people in there. That's the page you want to know about. Keep an eye on that. We also have, almost forgot. Can't forget Knowledge. So Knowledge is coming up May 3rd through 7th in Orlando. If you haven't signed up, please do go over to knowledge.servicenow.com. Get yourself, I believe early bird pricing is in effect for a few more days. So if you want to save a couple $100 on the registration, go knowledge.servicenow.com. Great loads of information if you haven't been to Knowledge before. This is our annual customer conference where you will meet 20,000 of your closest friends that learn hands-on labs and workshops. There's hands-on exhibits. There's the big old show floor with what's new and what's coming in the platform, keynotes, networking. Lots of networking opportunities. So bring your business cards and bring a pen. So when somebody gives you your business card, you write on the back of it little notes about that person. When you get home, you can remember who they are and what you talked about. There's my cheat sheet for career management. Do you have any implementation guides? Do you have any implementation guides anywhere for products and applications? Implementation guides, I believe, are going to be on the docs site at docs.servicenow.com. And I thought I had a screenshot there. If I go back to that one, yeah, there's docs.servicenow.com. You can find that information. So sign up for knowledge. And we also have a workshop coming up. February 18th is Studio. We're going to be taking you through a tour of Studio. There's been some changes since it was first introduced in Geneva, so we want to get you up to speed on that. Studio 101. They kind of twisted the title on me. It was going to be like this college course. We're going to teach Studio 101, but it came out a little different. You may see it, Build Apps Faster in the Studio 101. It makes it sound like we have a product called Studio 101. We do not. So just for clarification, Craig will be leading that one. Jeremy and I will be riding shotgun on that. So I'll probably enter some color commentary as we go through that. So if you want to know about Studio, there may be a shortcut key or a feature you haven't seen. I certainly learned something when Craig and I were going through the delivery plan on this for yesterday. We had a quick team meeting, and we were discussing, and we went, what was this? We put something in the outline, and we went, I honestly don't remember what that was. So we went and looked, and went, I'll be darned, there's a feature to know about. So there's always something to learn. You can teach this old dog new tricks. Let's get on with any code we write today will be available in GitHub at the bit.ly link you see there at the bottom of the scene, bit.ly/sn-cls. That stands for Community Livestream. That's the name of this show. If we happen to write any script or code, I like to save that off to a repo so you can take it and break it and make it and shake it and make it your own. So have fun with that. Experiment. That's how we learn. So GitHub, there will be a folder dated 2020-01-22. That's today's date in year, month, day format. And you can find that information. If there's no folder, it means we didn't write any script that day. So it's not like we're just doing this kind of weird. Any plans for conducting sessions on performance analytics? There is an open office hour session very similar to this that Adam Stout does. So look for that on the community and subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications about that as well. And look for the open office hours for that Adam Stout does. It will say performance analytics and reporting, or reporting and performance analytics. He does that, I believe, once a week. If you look on this channel on YouTube, then you'll find that and more information on when that's scheduled and whatnot. I believe there's also posts in the community, posts in the community that he posts back to about that. We need more advanced classes on pre-conf training. More advanced classes in pre-conf training. I agree. There's a lot of classes in pre-conference training, the 2 days that happen before knowledge. I heard, don't quote me on this, but I heard there was a change in the way that they're doing training, but I haven't confirmed that. I need to talk to somebody in training to find out more about that. I don't want to spread any bad rumors. So check if you're signing up for pre-conference training. It's a great way to get 3 days of training in 2 days and at a discounted rate. Let's move on. I think, there's just one more. If you're new to ServiceNow and you want to get started on no-code apps, yes, you can do that with the little booklet you can download for free at the bit.ly link you see there. Short little read. It's the why you want to build your apps on ServiceNow and things you should think about before you do build your apps. This is very similar to the content if you've seen the documentation site at developer.servicenow.com. That's it. For the Citizen Developer Guide, this is based on that with a little more meat on the bone. And I am working on a video series on the how-to that goes along with this. So when you say, how to build a virtual agent into my app, I will guide you through that as well. So that's that. If you don't know anything about JavaScript and you're new to scripting, or you're a sysadmin and you want to turn into a developer, you want to get started, here's a recommended place to start, bit.ly/sn-learn.js. video series I put out in July of 2019 that guides you through everything from basic syntax to Boolean logic to while loops. It's intended for that persona that says, JavaScript. Okay. If that's you, then this is the video series for you, and it will get you comfortable with recognizing, reading, creating, modifying JavaScript on the Now platform. So I invite you to do that. Let's get started with the community. That's what we came here for. I do have a couple of follow-up things since the last episode. One is about a default knowledge base template that I love this one. Look at this. I wrote this article 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I was a customer. I don't remember writing this. I don't remember the answer, but a few days ago, Mark Stanger, he put up the reply. Some of you may remember Mark. He's the S&C guru, went off and started CrossFuse, and he responded. I just thought this was hilarious. A few days ago, someone said, sorry to resurrect this post from 11 years. I'm looking for a way to do exactly this in Madrid. I said, wow, proof that we still have everything in the community. I don't even remember writing this when I was a customer back then. I said, according to my research response, Rich, Mark's answer was correct. So many things have changed over the last 11 years. It's completely understandable that this does or does not exist in knowledge. I'm not a knowledge expert. We have gone through a couple of iterations since 2000 and whatever that was, 9. Yeah, it's been a while, but I thought this was rather humorous to just bring this up that I have questions as well. I still have questions, and I look to the community. I look to a lot of the videos and training material that I've presented and created to bring that out. Flow Designer inbound action is triggering only when an email is sent from admin credentials. This is important because I ran into this myself. I have not built a solution for this, but something to understand that I got back when I was trying my first inbound email creation. New York allows you to now trigger flows from inbound emails, and those happen before, was it New York or was it Madrid? I may be wrong here. They're saying London, but Flow Designer doesn't, I don't think it was London. But what I sent back was a response from our product manager. I said, hey, wait a minute. When I hit the test button, it works just fine. Well, I'm logged in with admin credentials, and it does work fine. But there's an ACL on the sys email table that makes things run a little funny. So what he recommended is create a subflow with the logic to do the parsing and whatnot, and then trigger it from the flow. That way you're running, because the flow is going to run as the person who runs it. I don't even know if it runs as admin user. So he said the way the flow trigger works is it executes the flow as the sender of the email. That's what it is. The flow runs as the sender of the email. And if you're trying to do something and the person is not recognized or doesn't have permissions, it says if it's guest, well, it uses guest if it can't figure out the sender of the email address. If it comes in from chuck.tomasi@gmail.com, it's going to go, I don't have you in the sysuser table, so I don't know what permissions you get. You get guest, which is pretty much nothing. Because the ACLs are very restrictive on sysemail, there's a good chance the sender won't have rights to touch the sysemail table. The way to deal with that is to drop into a subflow running as system to do what you're trying to do. Okay, keep that in mind. I have not built out this solution yet, but it is something to keep in mind when you're doing notification tree. If all of your emails coming in are from people in the sysuser table and emails are recognized, great. If somebody sends something that's not recognized, you're going to have to remember this, that, hey, it's guest can't do stuff to sys_email. You're going to have some issues. So keep that in mind. Wanted to point that out. It came up for me. It came up in the community. I'm bringing it up. And another one that came up just recently in the last day or so was this one about simple email flow triggering. And there's a claim in here that says, by any chance are you using your own personal developer instance? I saw the flow itself doesn't execute on PDIs, but seems to be working fine on the company's dev instance. I have not heard that before. I've not seen that. So I want to try that with you live to see what happens. Let's try triggering a flow. So I'm going to go to my personal developer instance, which is this tab, already logged in. And let's go, I'm in global, so we could do something very easy on an incident. Let's go to Flow Designer right there. And this is live. I didn't rehearse this. I don't know what's going to happen. Hello, Andre. Similar to JavaScript, please have a video series on HTML, CSS, Angular, JS, and other programming languages in the platform. Oh, how I wish I had the time to do a good service portal series. I really, really do. Or Flow Designer, or many of the other things. There's some cool stuff coming in Orlando, Paris, and Quebec. The problem is I'm wearing 2 hats right now, and if I can get it down to 1 hat, I could do some of these things really, really that people want. Okay, I don't know if I have something like this. I don't want to trigger 2 flows at once, so I have to check what's been updated recently. Not a whole lot. Let's do a new flow. Call this incident test. Global user who initiates is fine. And trigger, when an incident is updated, we'll pick our trigger as the incident table because it's an easy target. We'll do a scoped app next just to verify that there's nothing between scoped and global. I don't think there is. And we will trigger on the condition short description starts with CLS. Okay, that's when this flow will trigger. Ta-da! Incident updated where short description starts with CLS. And all I'm going to do is put in a log. There's one, and we'll simply print out the incident number. Trigger record, incident, num. There it is. Okay. Here's my rule of thumb for Flow Designer is if it's right here, and I don't have to scroll and drill in and scroll and drill in a lot, I will pick it from the side data panel. If it's deeper than that, 2 or 3 dot walks, I'm going to use the data pill picker because I can put in a little search like NUM and it goes, there's the number field, SHO, there's the short description field, and I can put them in a lot quicker. That's just my rule of thumb. You may have your own process or how you do that. So let's save that. I will test it against incident number 46, run that test, and it should give me a simple log statement. Log incident 46. Great. Works from a test. Let's not close that tab. Let's close the flow tab, activate that, and I'm going to go back to executions over here because I am going to actually try this. Incidents. Let's do open. Let's take 17. Test record from REST API Explorer. Wow, this thing's been all over the place. Short description. We will start this with CLS. And let's do an assignment group just to make some other change. Save. We should see in the logs, go to system logs all. There is my Flow Designer message incident 0017. It's triggering, so I don't know where this rumor came up that it doesn't work. So I think I've crushed that one on incident. I am going to go back into this flow and deactivate it. I really don't need that running every time. It's almost time for a Z-boot on this instance. Let's do another one real quick just to do a scoped app case. So CLS person test. Put that in the CLS 528. I know it's been at least since May 28th since I Z-booted. That's what that means. And trigger when a record is updated on the person table. Person. That's trivia person. That's CLS 528 person. And I don't know. What fields do we have? Name, age, comments? Sure. Comments starts with CLS. Run the trigger once. And Action. Sound like a movie director. Log a statement. We'll do the same kind of thing. We will just do something on the person record. I think there's a name field. Yeah. Let's use name. Dump that out. Save. Test. Pick a person. John Q. Public. Run test. See the op screen. See the output. Hooray. That's a wonderful thing. Okay, cancel that and activate it. Flow Designer, your friend. Easy to run triggers. Let's go to my CLS 528 app. Go to the persons table. Pick this empty name here. Name, Harry Mudd. Location, we don't care. Comments. This has no name. CLS, it has a name. Save. And back on the logs tab, we refresh, and there's, ooh. Okay, that was my test. Where is my actual one? Did I activate that flow? Yes. Let's check again. Maybe there's a latency. There it is. One of those event things. Yay. Okay, so that rumor is now crushed. Where was the... Okay, just tested. I just tested with a global table incident and a scoped table on a scoped app. And had no problems with my New York PDI. Just an FYI following up on that one. So, I like it. Crushed that one. Back to the community. Let's do a refresh, see what we've got. Oh, congratulations to the community MVPs, or excuse me, the community MVPs and the developer MVPs that are out there. We are working on a get-together for you at Knowledge. The 2019 MVPs have been announced. I suspect there will be a bigger announcement with the specific names coming out on the community very, very shortly. So, one reply in the inbox. Should we take a look at what this is? These are usually interesting discussions. I'll catch you up real quick. Let's look. Checkbox is not visible. Auto-populate issue in mobile agent. That gets a little deep into a mobile application. And I don't have my mobile with me, so I'm going to have a hard time digging into that one. But a couple of issues that have come up on the community lately with mobile have to do with UI parameters and item parameters. If you want a good walkthrough of how to build an application end-to-end, especially one that has an editable form, and how those data items and the action items and the UI parameters and all that stuff fit together, go to the developer site, take off the home part, and put on NAW, stands for Now at Work, event /NAW 19. I'll put the link in the show notes. Okay, it's where our Now at Work digital guidebooks are. If you were at Knowledge, this would be event /knowledge 19. Obviously, it'll be /event /knowledge 20 or 2020 this year. But anyway, I will put a link in the show notes to this, both on the community and in the YouTube description. Wow. Old age moment, senior moment. And if you look for CCW BLDR 3, create a no-code mobile application. This will take you through the steps of all of that, creating it from the ground up on an existing application. I can give you the update set if you're looking for it. Otherwise, you could build this on your own application. My font's a little large, which is why it's rendering top to bottom instead of side by side. But in there is a basic expense report application. It's got two tables, an item table and an expense report table. Expense report is the parent table, and you want to link these two together. So there's a bit in there about related lists, often handy. Somebody said, hey, when I put related lists on my mobile form, it doesn't show up. Well, you got to do more than just put the related list on there. You got to tell how these two data items are related. So when you click a record, it shows the filtered records from the item table, right? Or whatever your child table is. That intuitively, we think that's a normal process because in the classic UI, it is. Let me find a table that does something like that. I don't remember if it works, has people on it. One of these has a related list. Sure, why not? Okay. In the classic UI, whenever you create a reference field, you automatically get a related list for free. Okay, so I know that there's a reference field on the task SLA table that points to a task or an incident and says, would you like to put that related list on your form? Yes. In mobile, it's a different story. Creating a reference field doesn't automatically create that connection. Oh, howdy, I wish it would. It would save so much time. But instead, what you've got to do is take your data item, which is going to be a filtered list. Okay, think of it like a data source in reporting. It's just a pre-built data definition. The data item says, I want records from this table with this condition. Well, one of the conditions for your related list is that it's got to be the records that are related to the parent. This is automatically happening for you when you look at, say, incident tasks. There's the filter. Okay, it says, show me all the records from the incident table where incident is 1017. And it goes, oh, that's implicit in the classic UI, in the standard lists and forms, or in the platform UI, or backend, or whatever you want to call it. These lists and forms that we're all used to, the jelly interface, if you want to call it that. I call it either classic or standard lists and forms. That's implicit. It happens automatically. In Mobile Studio, you have to define that yourself. So you add it to the data item, which means you need an item parameter of the sysid for that field. And that is exactly what's explained in here. Relate items to an expense report. So in Mobile Studio, you obviously turn on the related list by flipping the switch, say mobile related list, and then you have to add the related list as one of the related lists you want to see. But then the second step, they did all that. That was great. The second step is, what's your reference field that points the item back to the expense report? Now, this walks you through very explicitly. You may already know because if you're the developer, great. If you don't, because this was a pre-canned application, I want them to go into the item record and pull up the expense report reference field. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to make that just a wee bit bigger. And can we collapse that? We can. Okay, so let me get back down to where we were now that the rendering took over. And then you go to the data item. Okay, this is the data item that looks it up and says expense report is, and create that UI parameter. There's not a UI parameter, an item parameter. There is an item parameter, easy to define. Okay, this would normally be on a related list in the classic UI, but you say plus, you add, say, expense report is a string, and it goes, great. So I will add that to my filter, right? Yes. Okay. Then you go to the list screen, create a UI parameter, and you have to link these two together. I say this is a text, it's linked to a field that's already on there, and away we go. So when I show the list, it has both of these. Then you map them together, which is really easy. You say my item parameter is mapped to my UI parameter. Feels very redundant. They are two totally different things that happen to have the same name. And 99.99% of the time, they're going to be the same thing because it's a reference field. One is defining how it's presented on the interface. And in this case, it may not even be presented as like an editable form. But if you are doing an editable form, then yeah, you're going to need both. And then you test the related list. So I will provide a link if you want to know more about mobile and hooking up the data. The UI parameters and item parameters really confused me at first. It wasn't until I wrote this thing and tested it about 6 times that it started to sink in and go, oh, I'm starting to get it. So as soon as I saw that post in the community, I knew what was going on. So encourage you to take a look at that. All right. Another refresh. Let's see where we're going. I don't even know if we're going to have time for a deep dive topic today, but we'll find out. Do we have PDF of digital guidebooks? No, we do not. All of them are online and rendered on the developer site. So if you want a PDF, I suppose you could print, or maybe we'll make a PDF output. Curious why you're curious to have a PDF version of that. Excellent. UI action not executing SETABORT action. Let's find out. What's happening? What's the challenge? What's the question? What's the problem? What's the requirement? I've scripted a UI action to implement 3 steps. Mandatory field validation on client. There's a related list item on the form. So glide recording and checking that the child table for mandatory fields, creating a task if the condition is satisfied. So here is your client part, which says get the value of this, make sure if it's empty, then set it to mandatory, and submit. I've never quite understood why people do this in a UI action. Maybe somebody can provide a reason, but if a field is mandatory, just make it mandatory, either by UI policy or dictionary entry or data policy or something to say, look, this is a mandatory field. If it's conditionally mandatory, you use a data policy or a UI policy. I don't understand at submit time if you want to check if a value is empty, and then if it's mandatory, make it mandatory on the form. Don't mislead the person by saying it's not mandatory and then saying, oh, you have to fill that in anyway. I don't understand the logic in here, and maybe somebody's got a use case that I haven't run into yet, but this just feels a little post-production to me, that you're slapping someone on the wrist for something you didn't put on the form. Then they go into, is HIF device mandatory? U parent current.sysid. Are you getting anything out of here? So current.SETABORT action will only happen if they have this. So you're going to go through the loop. Current SETABORT action, true. Current SETABORT action. Tried in many places. I would first check, if you're just checking for one record, let's see what we've got in here. The rest of this is kind of insignificant to me. That's where they create the task. So question 1, if you just want to check for one record, I advise putting in a set limit before your query on the UHIF table, then doing an if, whatever that object was, I don't remember, HIF, aptly named, HIF dot next. So you don't loop over 2,000 records, potentially. You really only want to see if there is one, at least one, right? Okay, much more efficient way of doing that. The other thing is, if you want to know how many records you got, throw a debug statement in there. Hit command space. Debug statement in there to show the number of records like this. gs.info hif.get row count, record count, excuse me. Get record? Oh, record count. Dang it, I'm having another senior moment. What is it, row count or record count? Who can get there quicker? The docs or the community? I've used that 1,000 times and I just can't remember it right now. This is why it's fun to just do the lookups. Yes, come on. Search. Scoped works for me. Get record class. Get record class. Get row count. Whew. Thank you. It should have just rolled off the fingers. I don't know where it went. That was bizarre, wasn't it? I knew it didn't look right when I started typing record. Get row count. There, for all of you who answered. Row your boat. records found. Something like that. All right. You know what? And even better, one thing that's starting to drive me crazy is when people paste script into the community, and it's like this. It has no formatting, no indentation. And like, ugh. We have this cool little icon right here, the curly braces, where you can insert a code sample. And you paste it in like that. It's not a code editor. Doesn't respect tab or anything. But if you've already got code, place it in there. It makes it a lot easier to read, write, copy, paste, all that good stuff. So try that. Okay. There's one. Struggling today. I don't know what happened. One service catalog generate two on a service request. After data source is created in reports, can it be modified? Yes. I'm not a reporting and analytics person. This is an IT service management. I ever created reports and saved them as data sources to be used to create additional subset report issue queries. After the data source has been created, can the data source later be modified, or does a totally new data source need to be created? My understanding is there's data sources for import sets. Well, I think you're looking for a data set. So if I go to reporting, actually, I think it's under performance analytics now that I think about it. Report statistics, report sources, and that would take to filter parent reports using this report source. So if I can look at reports using this report source, I could go in here, for example, look at the report, view the report. And what he's talking about is over here in data, where you would optionally specify a table or a data source. So let's go to report sources, and yes, you can modify that, realizing that it is a global change for every report using that. So yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, you can modify these. Go to report. Is it reporting or report? Let's look again. I want to make sure I get the instructions right. Report source. There it is. Do a little screenshot of this one. Reports, administration, report sources. Kind of odd that we have two different names for these things. It's labeled as a data source. Very odd. Let's go here. You can also see which reports use any specific data source, report source within each report source record. Okay. Record. Yay. Handy idea. I was first introduced to those in performance analytics. Very similar to what a data item is on mobile. I think I'm sensing a theme. Matching rule, not picking up group member with selection criteria on simple. It's in HR service delivery. Sounds like a lookup rule. Is there any way to format fields on a UI page after removing an option for lookup? NG change not triggering on second instance of widget. Let's go after this one. I just want to see what it is. And we get, I set up a matching rule that applies to a parent case for a lifecycle event. This matching rule for the case somehow does not pick up a member of the group when the selection criteria is simple. All other matching rules for tasks and I wish I knew what this was talking about, but I'm not an HR person, and I don't even know where these lookup matching rules are. Maybe somebody in the community can help out with this one. From Luis, I will leave that to you. Okay, versioning field. Versioning field. Let's find out what they want to do with a versioning field. I would like to know how to create a versioning field in ServiceNow. What I would like is an auto increment on update/save. This will act as a versioning field. So for the instance, we have articles that we put out and update periodically. Kind of like knowledge base article, but not the same. We would like them either to be prefixed, let's say with UC for argument's sake, the auto number like this. Field name, case version, type string, number starting at 0. Result on creation. Somebody give me the details. And allow this number to automatically set manually 2.0.0 for further revisions. Oh, interesting. When would you increment? Oh, can someone please give me? It's got a 3-digit thing that you're going to have to tear apart. That is going to require some significant coding, in my opinion. Does it have to be that complex, or could you just say Rev 1, Rev 2, Rev 127? Okay. How fixed is the requirement that it's a 3-part series? Requirement that it is a 3-part version number. E.g. 1.0.1. That makes this sort of more complex in the incrementing. The first thought I had on this was to go and use the sysmod count updates field available on every record. When you save, it increments. I like out-of-the-box solutions better. No customization needed. You can write your logic around that. Otherwise, you're going to have to figure out what that 3-part series is and go, okay, here's the major number, here's the minor number, here's the, I don't even know what you call that, suffix, major, mid, minor. You'd have to figure out what those 3 parts are called, get some nomenclature around that, and then increment. So you could have, like, it's going to end up looking like a Chrome version number. This is 80.0.3048. It might look like that for them. So let's do a refresh on this. I've been sitting on the same screen for a while. Oh, got a couple more in the inbox. Should we go take a look? Been some lively discussions the last couple of days. I think I already had that tab open, but Simple Flow Designer not triggering. Matt G123, what we were just talking about on here, says, I checked with ALM asset table and change request table, and both were not working on PDI, but they were working just fine in the company's dev instance. It's on a company dev instance. We'll try to get a PDI to see if I'm getting the same issue, though. At least that way I'll know it's an issue with the company instance. Okay, good. Follow up on that. And here's something interesting I've noticed about the community. I already responded to this question, and yet it says, Christina posted a question. That's what we already responded to. So something weird about the way that this is tracking my inbox. There's the question, and there's my response, and nothing else happened. So why did the inbox report the question was asked after I answered it? Doesn't seem to make much sense, but I've got that in the queue of, I don't know, what do you want to call it? The WTF queue? Back here on the, you know what? I'm going to do something a little different. We've got about 10 minutes. Let's go developer, filter that down to the developer community and see just the unanswered one there. Unreplied. Notification catalog item posted 4 minutes ago. Let's find out where we're going with this. I have a requirement whenever an approver approves or rejects an RITM, a notification should trigger to requested for person. For that, I've written a notification. An event on sysapproval approver table issue is since it's sysapproval approver table, notifications getting triggered for all the catalog items. So how do I send a notification on a particular catalog item? RITM request. Okay, you need a dot walk to the cat item field, I believe it is. Let's go to SC rec item. So every request item that gets generated from the catalog has a link back to what catalog item generated it right there. And it is called cat under item. So that is every RITM that gets generated I get to repeat what I just said. From the catalog has a link, a reference field called cat item pointing to the catalog item it was generated from. You can dot walk to that and do an if statement to see if if current dot approval for dot cat item equals sysid of your cat item as a condition to trigger the notification. There. I haven't put out too many of those yet today. Let's do another one. Open to change link type of a module depending on a domain. Option to change link type, excuse me. Not a big domain separation person, but let's see what we can find. Do you know of any way we can change the argument in link type of a module depending upon domain in domain separated environment? Change the argument in a link type. Can you provide some more details? Examples of what you are looking to do of the requirement. Screenshots help. I'm not clear. I don't know if they want to make it conditional based on the domain, say show this module for domain X but not for domain Y. I thought you could do that with overrides, but again, not expert. Is there a way to format the fields in UI page where I looked at that one? NG change, duplicate lives. I'm not skipping over these because I don't know. I'm just skipping over because I don't know. CMDB database. 17 hours ago and nobody's helped out? Let's find out. The list returned by GET. They're doing a GET through the table API, table REST API. Doesn't seem to look like a DB inventory list, but they're getting CMDB CID. Some ServiceNow related stuff. There's no IP host info, no port, no service name for Oracle DBs. Maybe there's a different resource we should be polling, or maybe the option needs to be used to get what we need. Private string IP, DB instance name, DB host name. Does anyone know? Let's go take a look at what's actually in that table. CMDB CI database. .list. Okay. Sometimes you see things on forms that aren't on the record itself. And type connection strength, used by contains. A lot of those sound like they're related records. They were looking for what? IP, host info, port. So it's going to be, a lot of that sounds like related information that you're not going to get. Okay. When you use the table API, the REST table API to get records, it's going to get the records for that table only. What you are looking for sounds more like related information. For that, you could construct, who's going to say it? A scripted REST API, which gives you total control over the inputs, the outputs, and how it's all processed. That's going to be how you're going to get that if we can spell outputs right. So let's go get them a docs page for scripted REST APIs. I hate the disappearing scroll bars. I got to fix that on my Mac. It's just a preference. Scripted REST API. Ding, 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 ding. Very powerful. I use these all the time. Put a link in there for Mr. Helpful from the docs page, and away we go. How are we doing? See, you didn't have to wait 17 hours for that. Trouble with business rule to set ALM hardware.model and manufacturer. Not an asset guy myself, but we'll take a look if it's just a business rule issue. The goal to allow asset managers to add inventory with a scan gun, very common thing. I wrote a script to update the hardware asset table by adding a custom field for U_UPC. Then I query, is this my normal font size? Yeah, 150, it is. Then I query, I must be getting old, I want a larger font. Then I query cmdb model against the barcode field, which will be unique. I can pull the values into an object confirmed in the comment field, but I am struggling to assign them to current or even set value for hardware records. I did look at ACLs and check the boxes. I see the order of my before business rule to be 999, right before CI creation and 1000. I tried making possible conflicting scripts inactive. I just ran out of ideas. Here's my code. Any help is appreciated. So function. We've got a function called return model 2 that gets called from model object. This does a glide record on cmdb, gets it where the UPC code. Does a model.get and then returns whatever it gets. As object display value, sysid, Then sticks it in the comments. He said he was okay with the comments, but was unable to, okay, this works. Manufacturer supposed to pull sysids doesn't work. So he's got modelobject.co going into manufacturer because you can't .walk values in there. No, that's not going to work. You have to get the reference record and update that. Okay, rule number 1, you can't update. You can't .walk. You can't set values by .walking. Okay, rule number 1, you cannot set values in related records by simply .walking them. Okay, those are completely different records and will not get updated as part of current or any other glide record. Okay, what you can do is one of my new favorite functions. It's not a new function, it's just I haven't used it until recently, is use the get ref record method to get the, what was it, manufacturer, where are you setting it? Manufacturer, model. Okay, manufacturer should work. Model won't. So get model, manufacturer.name, get model, and you're probably going to have to do manufacturer to get the related record. Then you have a glide record object which you can modify and update. Something like this. And let's put a little code snippet in here. It's not going to be pretty, but it will be an example. Current, let's see, var mfg equals current dot manufacturer dot get ref record. That's it. It's real easy to use. Okay, but I would first do a check here. If current dot manufacturer, why can't I spell that? Okay, manufacturer. So you don't get a null pointer exception. Then you can set modify values on mfg gr object. mfg.update if needed. Okay. Don't forget, if you're dot walking even further, you need to do that repetitively. So if you had the model was related to that other record, you're going to have to do that. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun. It's been too long. I hope to get more of this. I am a bachelor for the next couple of weeks, so I can get up and do these without worrying about waking up my wife. So I look forward to talking to you again real soon. If you are out there and find something useful, certainly share it on the community and get yourself some credit for being helpful. So go learn something new, share it, be helpful, and I will talk to you again real soon. Bye.